Hello everyone, welcome back to card number 3 in the Floral Essence card kit series. Our third card is a little bit of a different fold. It's a little, I call them stable door folds. I've seen some people call them Dutch door folds, and you can see how, actually you can see it better on here. You can see that, you only have half a front here to fold over. So for this card kit, you need this set, the card number 3 set, and everything is in there that you need. The card base are these funny shaped pieces, but when you fold them over, then it will make that stable door or that Dutch door fold. So let me show you. This is quite an easy card to make, and I have already prepped some of it. You're going to need the bigger flower stamp here and this little circle stamp. On my first card, I used the Wishing You a Blissful Future. But for this one, I'm going to use this All Days Are Beautiful That Begin With You, just because it's still on the block from when I made the second card. So that's what we need. You need Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I've only got my liquid glue and the 3 sets of stamps. Now, in the pack, you will get a large piece, or 2 large pieces, of the Poppy Parade red. And you need to be able to use these for all of your flowers. So I suggest that you do 2 sets of flowers on one card, 2 sets on the other card, and then you know you've got enough. Don't sort of stamp right in the middle and then can't get any more on. Okay, so I always stamp from the edges and go along in a line. Now, this is the little piece that's our base, and I've already done the stamping. And that's because when you start to add these flowers, it can be really easy to cover over your image. So I always start with that first, and you will notice that this is the thicker cardstock, the thick white, and when you cut this on the trimmers, you can often end up with a little edge showing. So all I do is I take one of my bone folders and I just go along where that edge is. And it happens mainly on this thick cardstock, and that just pushes it down. Now, if you don't have a bone folder, I do have a Stampin' Up! One as well, but I like this one because it's a bit more solid when I'm doing edges. But if you don't have a bone folder, you could use the edge of a ruler. In the past, like this kind of a ruler, turn it over and go over. I've sometimes even used the stamp box, and I've sort of gone over and pushed the edge of the stamp box along. And as long as you get that edge sort of pushed down a bit, then it makes the card easier to work with. Okay, so in your pack you will find different pieces of designer series paper, and they've got different patterns on the side. Now for this one, I used this from the Ornate Garden suite. It's got flowers on one side if you wanted to have the flower side, and then your flowers that you're going to stamp and cut out, that works as well. I like the green side, so that's just what I'm using. I also included this pattern, which is really pretty. It's from the Verdant Garden paper from the previous catalogue, but I chose it not because it was retired or anything, but because it had these lovely little poppy type flowers on, and I thought it went really well with it. But just use whichever ones you want to on whichever card you want. Okay, so I'm going to start, I'm going to use that Verdant Garden one. Okay, and you've got 2 pieces that are exactly the same. You just attach them, one to the front of your stable door. Let's pop this on, and one on the back. And you leave a nice little border all the way around. Oops. That's one of the reasons I like wet glue, because if you've not got it quite straight, you can just push it, and it takes a little bit of time to set. Whereas if you use some of these stronger glues or sometimes the stronger tape glues, once you've put it down, it's down. So just back and front of the same card, the same paper on that little flap fold. Okay, now on the red card you stamp your large flower, and I've stamped mine in black, and then you stamp the full circle inner to go on top of it, and you end up with these shapes. And then I've just fussy cut them out by hand like I did on the second card when I showed you the flowers that I was cutting out. I just did them exactly the same way. In your pack you also have some pre-cut leaves, and unfortunately this punch has retired now, but any leaves would work. Those sprigs like we used on the last card would work really nicely. But I just like this for these flowers, and I didn't want to let it go, so I'm using those ones. Now these are going to be attached to your flap, and remember I said it's always good to stamp this first, because now I can see how high my flowers can be. It's no good, you know, sticking them up here and then coming to do your image for your sentiment thinking, oh, I haven't got enough room. So I'm going to just sort of lay them on. I'm not sticking them down yet. I'm just working out which way I want them to go. Okay. And so because they're on this flap like this, I don't want to have it so that when you open it, you can see glue here, because that will be sticky. It might stick to your card, and otherwise you get glue on your fingers. So I'm going to just pop that one back on so I know where I want that again. And then I'm only going to put glue on the bottom half of this flower. And that way I know it's not going to interfere with the opening and nobody will see it on the back. I'm going to put that left-hand side one on first. And then I'm going to stick this right-hand side one on this time. And again, I'm only putting glue, that bottom third, and I'm making sure that I'm moving that flower so that I can still see all of my sentiment. Okay. And then before I put this third one on, I'm going to stick some of these leaves on. And on this one, you can see I put 2 at the bottom, 1 at the top, just because when I was placing them, I felt like that looked best. But you don't even have to put the leaves on if you don't want to. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here. And I'm going to put it so that that one is at the bottom. I've stuck it over that flower, but that's fine because this flower is going to go over the top and you won't see where that edge is. I'm going to do the same again. Bit of glue on the back. And I'm going to put that, whoops, that was a bit too much glue there. I'm going to put that so it sticks out a little bit, but I know our flower will cover it up. And then my third one, it can go up at the top here so that it sticks out a bit. You could put another one down at the bottom, but I like one just on that white space there. So let's see. Let's pop it here. And that way it'll just stick up a little bit. And when you look from the back, oops, got a little bit of glue there. Remember I said not to get any glue on the back, and then I went and got some on. Okay, I'm going to use my little glue eraser. Just take that off, and that will stop it being sticky. So you can't feel that now. Okay, and this one, if you wanted to put this on dimensionals and have it raised up a little bit, you could do that. I'm just going to work out which way I had this. I think it was that way. Yep. And again, I'm only going to put glue at the bottom. Now, you will have a little bit of extra card, so what you can do as well is to stamp and cut out another one and put it on the inside. I had a leftover leaf because on one of my cards I only put 2 of the leaves, so I popped that little leftover leaf there as well. I've not prepared a fourth one for you, so I'm not going to put it on the inside. But that's your other card. Now, for those ladies who also bought the matching punch, I'm going to show you how to make this card, but with this punch. So instead of this large flower, you need this one. And you need 2 of each of these punched out for each flower. So I've already done them in the red, and they will look like this. And I find it easier when I'm stamping it to stamp it that way around, so you've got the 2 petals at the bottom, because that's the way the punch is. So when you are trying to punch them out, they're just the perfect way around to punch them. And then you need to just put a little bit of glue in the middle, and you put this one on and just offset it so that it looks like the petals go all the way around. Okay. And I've made the card exactly the same way. I've done those 2 little pieces of DSP on here, but I've used a different sentiment. I've actually used one from a different set that I bought. I just used this Happy Day from here. I'm sure you all have lots of other stamp sets, and it might be a birthday card you want or a get well card, so don't be afraid to use a different sentiment. I stamped it first so that I knew where to put my flowers. I'm not putting any leaves on, but I'm just putting the 3 punched flowers on here. Now, let me just measure that up and see where I'm going to put it. I might just put it on an angle like that. So I'm only going to put glue on these 2 pieces here. There we go. And you could punch out more leaves or cut out more leaves as well. Okay, so that's the same card, just with the different flowers. And they don't have to be as high up as that. You can have them, you know, a little bit lower down. Another card I have made with this set in the past is this one. And if you look on my YouTube or on the blog, you will find the dimensions for this. And I stamped the flower onto clear vellum, and I stamped it just with white ink, and then cut it out with this same punch and just made it like a little gatefold card, but with a gap down the middle so that I could put that little sentiment in. So I do have other ideas for this punch on the YouTube channel. So if you bought this as well, don't be frightened to use it on any of the cards. You don't have to use the images that I used. You could use your flower with this punch as well. So there we are. That's the 3rd of the cards, all videoed for you. If you have any questions, if you're worried about anything, just drop me a line, send me a text, and I can help you through it. Thanks, ladies. I hope you really enjoyed this class, and I'm sure you made some stunning cards. Send me a picture, put them on our Facebook group, and so that everybody can see. And thank you again for supporting me. Bye, everybody.